Hi, this is GS from UOOE.org, University of Online Education. Today's session we are going to discuss how to create a database and a table in MySQL using PHP script. So the title is Creating Database and Tables in MySQL using PHP script. So in previous session I told you how to connect with database and how to create tables in PHP In order to creating tables and database, we can create in two types. First type is we can go directly to PHP Here database, click on the database, create new database. We can say like new data. This is my new database name is new data. So here new database is created, and click on this new data. And if you need to create a tables to the database data means just click on this create table, and my table is info is my table name, and it will consist of fields like info underscore id. For every table will have its own id with unique means with auto increment, because when we inserting every time the field which contain auto increment will be automatically increment to by 1. Defaultly auto increment id will have default 1 value. For every insert of a new record, it will increment to 1 plus 1 plus 1, like that. I mean the id which contain auto increment is unique. It will not contain any duplicates or null values. So we can say that for every table will have one unique id with auto increment. So this is auto increment and having a length 10, and it is data type is always integer. And another thing is name is like varchar, length 50, and in one table you can't define two auto increments. Each only one table will contain only one auto increment. Email, age, length is integer, so it can be 10. So if I just save this means new table is created. I mean this is one way. I mean if you have access to PHP means you can directly go log into the PHP and you can create database and table here itself. But when we use PHP script for creating database means sometimes we do not have permission or we do not have access to database directly. At the time we have to create database and tables through PHP script. If you don't have permission to access PHP means we have to create through PHP script. So now I will show you how to create database and table using PHP script. As I told you in previous session, in order to create table we need to connect with database. So my MySQL underscore connect is the function which is open connection to the PHP admin, and host name is localhost, username is root, and password is empty. And let me check whether my database is connected or not. If not connected, I want to print an error message in die. Could not connected, and I want to display what's the reason by using MySQL underscore error. So if it's connected means it's directly display connected. I'm going to save this. Create dot create db dot php. This is my file name. If I open this browser, is showing that it was connected. So once I connected means now I want to create a database. I have now right now I got open connection to phpMyAdmin. So by using the PHP script we have to create database. Once the testing is completed, we have to remove these test statements, and now I want to create a database. And the structure is create database and database name. This is the structure for creating database. So I'm creating database like $db. So for creating database we will use create database as the statement. So create database and database name is UOOE. This is my database name. And here in MySQL we have one function, important function, mysql_query. This mysql_query is used to execute MySQL queries. Here I just define query itself. Now if I want to run this query means I want to use $mysql_query. It is a function in order to execute MySQL queries, either for selecting queries or deleting queries, for everything. In order to run MySQL queries we will use mysql_query of $db. And let me check whether I created database or not. If $run die database is not created, and I want to know what's the error message is. So mysql_error. If everything fine means echo UOOE database has been created. So if I refresh this means used to undefined constant run. So okay, here I didn't indicate dollar. If you run this, database is not can't create database UAE. Database is already exist. So it's saying that UAE database is already exist. Because of this error message, by using this error message we can able to find out what is exact reason. So I will take another new database, my test db. So let me check. Yeah, here I want to change this name, that's the reason it's showing. So my test db is created. If I refresh once again means it will say that my test db is already exist, because I already this database is already created here. So we can't refresh twice, because once again it will show exist repeat. So here my test database is created. So once the query is completed, we have to hide this query, because for every time for every refresh it will run the query and it will create the try to create the new database. So it's better to hide that creating database query. And I have created a database called mytest. So now I want to connect with my test DB. So we will use mysql underscore select underscore DB, and the name of the database is my test DB. Let me check whether it is connected or not. So if not, equal to $tab tab die she could not connected to database, else not else we can declare again connected to my test DB. And let me check whether I connected to my test database or not. If and I missed here semicolon. Yes, connected to my test DB. Now I connected to my newly created database. Once I connected to my database, now I want to create table. So here creating new table to my test DB. So the structure of creating table is create table name. This is the syntax for creating table. So I want to create right now I'm creating table. This called table is a variable. I'm creating table as create table, and table name is something like employee emp. So first of all, I already told you for every table it will have its own ID as auto increment, and the auto increment should be unique and it should not accept any null values. So first of all, I am creating auto increment ID emp underscore ID, and ID data type is integer and it should not accept null values, and it is auto incremented. And it should not accept duplicate values. That's the reason we have to assign primary key to the employee ID. So primary key for employee ID emp underscore ID comma, and I want another field called first name, and it is character 15, and email and character is 15, and age is integer. So I just define table and close here. So I just define table. Now I want to run this table. I want to execute this table by using MySQL underscore query and place that create underscore table table, and let me test whether the table is created or not. If dollar run underscore table not equal to, if not created, print an error message dies, table is not created, and show error message as if everything fine, show me that emp table has been created. So let me check. emp table has been created. So let me go here, and my table name is my testdb. Here is my emp. This is my table which I created from database, and these are the fields which I enter here. So if I want to add another table to this my testdb, means I just want to replace this table name as person, and if I need to change these fields, means I can change, or it's not necessary. And I want to place this primary ID here, and if I run this, means you can see another table here. And if you come here, my testdb here, like this we can able to create. Now this is the way how to connect with database, and how to create a database through PHP, and how to create tables to that particular database. So that's for today's session. Thank you.